TS, TSF South Florida. I would like to welcome all of you to our program. Inshallah, it will be a short program. I would like you to stay tuned until the end of the program. We are very fortunate to have a special guest in this program, including TCF founder, Mr. Mushtaq Chopra, TCF president, Mr. Arif Ghafoor. We have Marina Khan, who is a PTV star, and we do have singer Mehndi. Please stay tuned. I welcome everybody, and please join us and stay with us until the end. With that, I will ask Harun to take over now from there and proceed with the program.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Harun Ismail. On behalf of TCF USA, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever virtual meetup. By way of introduction, I serve as a director on TCF's board of directors. I've been involved with TCF's efforts in South Florida and New York over the last several years. And I'm flipping through the Zoom right now, and I can see, I'm very happy to see, I should say, many of our longstanding supporters joining. There's a lot of new faces as well. Someone who's grown up in South Florida, I'm very proud that this is a community that's shown up time and time again in support of this great organization. And I'm confident that inshallah today, through this short program, we're going to meet our goals for the year, because there's a lot that we need to talk about, and that there's a lot that that the organization needs in terms of your support. We're here virtually, obviously. We really wish we could have been here with you in person as we have in past years. Obviously, this is the COVID environment, and everyone has to deal with the circumstances. And I know everyone's probably really tired of Zoom, but I can promise you that this is not just another virtual fundraiser. We've got a great program for you that's going to be worth your time. And we're really, really honored to be joined by some very special guests. So as my dad mentioned, Dr. Mushtaq Chopra, who's the TCF founder himself, he brings a lot of rich perspective around the situation in Pakistan and the challenges seen, especially under COVID-19. Arif Ghafoor, who's the TCF USA president, is going to talk to us about TCF USA's mission and journey, the current COVID response. Dr. Sidra Salim, who we're going to get into her introduction a little later, but she's a former TCF student who's really shown us the power of the platform, the power of education, and how TCF is really something that enables some of these students to realize their dreams. And then we have our favorite Marina Khan, who's a household name and needs no introduction, but we're thrilled to have her on board. And then finally, we've got some entertainment at the end, a music program with Ali Pervez Mehdi, which should be great. This is an intimate event. As you see, we tried to keep it tight with just community members. Everyone's on Zoom. We want this to be interactive. So there's going to be a couple of portions where we'll allow folks to unmute and ask questions, participate in the fundraising process, etc. I'm going to be moderating today's program, and so I'd like to share a couple of house rules. One, just given the background noise, please stay on mute unless you're speaking. It'll just be very helpful to the rest of the speakers. When you're asked to speak or when it's time to speak, feel free to unmute your mic. Just be mindful of the noise. We'll be taking questions in between. There's 2 segments that we're going to pause and allow people to unmute, turn on their videos, ask questions. If you want, you can post those questions in the Zoom chat and we'll be sure to address them. I'll be calling on people to nominate them one by one. So feel free to pay attention for that. And so as my dad mentioned, this is a short program. We'd love for your undivided attention for the next hour or so. As I can promise you, the speakers have a lot of great stuff to say. So with that, let me call up our first guest, and he's by no means a guest. He's definitely a very critical member of the organization at TCF. He's been a mentor to me for many years now, since my involvement with the organization. Arif Ghafoor. Arif Uncle has a long and successful career in corporate America. He's had senior leadership positions at many major oil companies, but because of his passion for the cause, he left his role as a corporate executive to take on the challenges that TCF was facing. His role has grown. He started out as a donor, he became a chapter leader, then he became a board member, and then ultimately CEO of the US organization. Today, he's the president of the board of directors, and oversees TCF from a strategic and board level perspective. What's most important about Arif Uncle, which I admire a lot, is that everything he's done for the last decade for the organization has been 100% voluntary, 100% pro bono, and really is just about his passion for education and making a difference in the lives of these children of Pakistan. So Arif Uncle will talk to you about TCF's mission, journey, and he's also going to focus on the COVID response, particularly in this unusual time. So with that, I will call up Arif Uncle. Over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Harun. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Iqbal Sahab. आपसे मेरी मुलाकात हुई थी Dallas में, अपना की function में about 2 years ago. And well, that was 2 years ago. It was a different era then. और इंशाल्लाह फिर मुलाकात होगी जब कोविड का सिलसिला ख़त्म हो. Thank you all for attending. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. As Harun said, my task today in the next 10 minutes or so is just to provide you a very quick overview of TCF USA, and more recently what their response has been on the COVID response in this year. So with that, I have to use a few slides. So let me see how I do that. Let me share my screen with you, and inshallah. Harun, can you see the slides?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So like I said, I'm going to very quickly give you a very thumbnail sketch of TCF. And I'm, of course, available during the session and afterwards. Just give me a call if you have any questions. And essentially, this is a kind of a thumbnail. And so the foundation was formed about in 1995. और ये मुश्ताक और एहसान और 5 दोस्त इन्होंने फॉर्म किया था organization about 1995 में. By the way, Mushtaq and I go back a long way. We won't say how long ago, but he and I went to school together back in Karachi. 25 साल पहले इदारा शुरू हुआ. And right now, mashallah, TCF is now one of the largest organizations providing quality education in the world. And we have roughly about 1,650 schools. An interesting statistic about the foundation that you support is that we have been opening a new school every 10 days. And I'll show you the pictures of this. And it's essentially a miracle of how that happens. And we are educating 266,000 children. What attracted me to the organization was really the emphasis on girls. By mandate, TCF, every school in TCF is required to have at least 50% enrollment of girls. And to do that, what we have done, or the foundation has done, is 100% of our staff, our teachers are female. In fact, we are one of the largest, or we are the largest female employer in Pakistan. And just to give you another statistic, it's a large our foundation. We've got about 18,000 employees right now, but the overhead is a very professionally run organization. और अभी सिर्फ 9% है overhead हमारा. और mashallah, we have graduated more than 41,000 children so far. And I'll tell you a little bit about the children further down. And let me see, these are the kind of schools we make. ये ऐसे वैसे कच्ची बच्चे schools नहीं हैं. These are, most of the schools are better than the schools which I have attended in Karachi. So mashallah, can you imagine, 1,500 of these schools are stretched across the country in various forms and shape. And my wife and I have attended they had the privilege of visiting these schools, of several of these schools over the years. But really, we are proud of the schools. But what we're really, really, really proud of is the children who have graduated from the schools and the successful lives they're leading. Let me introduce to a few of them now in the next few slides. ये नदीम हुसैन है, ये बाय द वे ये सिदरा जो अभी मेरी मुलाकात होगी आपसे वो he is the brother of Sidra. Then we have Mahin Khan, Mohammed Faisal, or I could go on. It's not only doctors and engineers and business graduates who are graduating. Our children are starting to join the forces, the police, you name it, we have it. There's Dr. Sidra. Then we have others, and we could go on and on. By the way, these 4 children have been are actually studying in the US. And आपकी मुलाकात शायद नोमान रफीक से हुई होगी जो फ्लोरिडा के कॉलेज में he has graduated since then. And with that, and I could go on. I could talk about the children. Each one of them is really a success in its own. And so far, we have about 40,000 of them who have graduated. And just to give you another interesting statistic, in about the next 5 years to 6 years, we will be graduating about 20,000 children plus every year, year over year, if we get to with these 1,600 to 2,000 schools. So ये लश्कर निकल रहा है बच्चों का जो इंशाल्लाह पाकिस्तान चेंज करेगा. Now let me very quickly switch over to TCF USA. Closer to home. This is the organization which I've had the privilege of leading over the last 5 or 6 years. The foundation was started about 2002. This is a US-based nonprofit, so 501c3. It is a volunteer-based organization. There are 40 plus volunteer chapters across USA. We have about 10 to 12 staff, very minimal skeletal staff. But the majority of the work is done by the chapters. We have built, over the last 18 years, we have built about 250 plus schools, educating about 65,000 children. In any particular year, हम लोग तकरीबन हम लोग कुछ 20 schools के project चल रहे होते हैं हमारे पाकिस्तान में. और इसके अलावा हम लोग 250 से 300 schools को हम support करते हैं, which is really where our focus is right now. And interestingly, USA, Americans, you and I, we provide about a third of the funding of TCF's annual budget. So it's what we are sending about $13 million a year, which is about a third of the funding which is required for Pakistan. Now, and we have been growing over the last 5 or 7 years, thanks to you, thanks to the awesome team which we built here in USA at about 15 to 20% per year annually. We're also regarded, USA, and I'm very proud of this, there are very few. This is a charity, you'll see that 4-star rating at the bottom of your screen and the platinum seal for Guidance Star. Charity Navigator and Guidance Stars are rating agencies in US of all US charities, and there are probably several thousand of them. We are one of the few who have been rated 4-star, and we've received this 4-star rating for the last 4 years in a row. So in other words, just like our parent organization in Pakistan, we are very proud of the fact that we are a professionally managed organization here in the USA, which handles the donor money every year, year after year. And with that, the chapters of TCF USA, they're across the country. And Florida, South Florida is way down there. And like I said, you guys, oh shoot, 1 minute. You're just starting off, and over the last 2 or 3 years, so there's Florida, Houston is where I live, and so on. So there are about 40 chapters, 30 of them are active, and this is our family. This is the TCF USA family. इकबाल भाई यहाँ है नहीं, हारून को देखिएगा ये कोने पे खड़ा हुआ है. Mushtaq is right here and I'm there. This was a conference which happens every 2 years in the USA. And I'd like to invite you, all of you, to attend our conference, which we had one in February of this year. And inshallah, the plan is, given circumstances, कि भाई 2021 में होगा, और and we will let you know where it happens. So right now, this is actually my family, and you're part of it. Now let me switch gears a little bit and get closer to home. Is what did TCF do over the last 6 months? क्या रहा हमारा response? क्या किया हमने response? It's again just like our schools. This has been an amazing story. And right at the start, मुझे याद है February में, as I'm part of the leadership group here, we kind of sat around virtually. And at that time, back in February, late February, early March, we defined a four-pronged approach, which is TCF's response to, and this is what I'm going to talk about in the next couple of slides. Initially, the idea was there are four aspects to our COVID response. First one is to sustain. मसला ये है कि अब उस वक्त 6 महीने पहले, our communities were really suffering. ये mostly daily wage workers हैं, जिन्हें राशन पानी का मसला है. So right away, TCF mobilized a team of staff, teachers, volunteers, and most importantly, led by alumni. And we went into our communities and we provided relief effort. And I'll share the numbers with you in a minute. It's truly engaging. At the same time, what we did was we engaged our children. देखिए बच्चे को छोड़ नहीं सकते ऐसे, तो लिहाजा within a month's time, we created a TV program and online. So we went remote, online learning. एक इल्म का आंगन करके एक TV program शुरू किया हमने, और publication शुरू की, क्योंकि याद रहे कि भाई वहाँ इंटरनेट तो है नहीं इन गाँवों बस्तियों में जहाँ हम काम करते हैं. Now we're entering our second phase of our COVID response. We're starting to open our schools, and I'll talk about it in a minute. And finally, our work is not, TCF is not just about education. It is about education, but it is about the communities we serve. And as we go on forward, so it was the support, the continuing school and community sessions are going on right now, in which we engage our community with hygiene issues and so on and so forth. Our relief response to date has been, we have distributed relief worth about $700,000 in 67 communities and 18,000 households. And most impressively, it has all been done by volunteer efforts. I could go on and talk for hours on this. Let me switch to the reopening of the schools. How is this happening? We have is a very, very structured program. The key word here is safety. Teen areas हैं, cleanliness and hygiene, both in our schools. Monitoring health, हर बच्चे का temperature check किया जाता है, daily health checks होती हैं, और फिर finally educating our communities. So again, we are part of the community. And very detailed SOPs or standard operating procedures have been put together. Just as a glimpse, which I pulled out from one of the SOPs, of the way we're addressing and keeping our children, our staff, and our communities safe. That's my last slide almost. But let me finish you with a personal story. Like Harun said, I started off as a volunteer, my wife and I did, about 2011. Okay, we've been visiting schools. I believe this is about 2 years ago when we visited a school in Pakistan, in Gharo Sindh. जो आप कराची से हैं, उन्हें पता होगा मलीर से थोड़ी सी दूर में घारो में हमारा एक स्कूल है. उस स्कूल को हमने विजिट किया, और कहानी इस बच्ची की है. वो जो बच्ची जो फौजिया जो देख रही है स्क्रीन में, और ये मैं बैठा हूँ बच्चों के साथ. इस बच्ची ने बताया कि भाई she insisted that we should visit her home. So we did. We asked the principal's permission, and then we went to their home. घर क्या था? झोंपड़ी सी थी, मुझे याद है, भैंसें थीं, गायें थे, और ये है glimpse of the kitchen of the house, and that's the mother, Fauzia's mother. And what Fauzia's mother, in the conversation, I asked Fauzia's mother, कि फौजिया कैसी है, तो कह रही थी कि आप बड़ा अच्छा पढ़ती, बड़ी मेहनत करती है. But the next thing what she said was, मगर मुझे दांत मंजवाती है ये. Now at that time, by the way, there's tea being cooked, and she insisted that we stop for tea, of course. And they had a bunch of relatives there. What she said at that time was कि भाई ये मुझे दांत मंजवाती है. You know, at that time we laughed, but after that you start thinking. The effect of TCF has is on communities is that a 12-year-old child is actually telling her mother, कि दांत मांजे. That lady had never brushed her teeth in 40 years of her life. And that's what TCF does. The basic hygiene is what it imparts. This is like 2 years ago. This is not about COVID. But you can imagine the response you and I have in communities in Pakistan as we move along. With that, I will stop with one word. You know, the effort is not over. And if I let you 2 seconds to read this, to compound the learning crisis by Pakistan, it is one of the 12 countries at extreme risk of increased school dropouts and wider learning inequalities. This was a report by the Save the Children Foundation, international organization. And unfortunately, our work is not done. Your work is not done. And with that, I will stop here and let the program, Harun, back to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
उम्मीद की किरणों से अक्सर अंधेरों में भी हो जाते हैं उजाले.
I think we lost the video. Is that
मिल सकती है राहों को मंजिल. चलते जाए अगर हौसले संभाले. घर जल उठे ये सब दिए, रोशन होगा ये मुस्तकबिल. ये तो है तारे, सबकी आंखों के तारे. इनको कोई सवारे, इनको कोई निखारे. मासूम सी आँखों में जितने सपने हैं एक दिन ताबीरों में ढलेंगे. ये है यकीन, यही होना है कल. हिम्मत से अपनी ये दुनिया जीत लेंगे. हम ले चले ये कारवां, अब तू नहीं कोई मंजिल. ये तो है तारे, सबकी आंखों के तारे. इनको कोई सवारे, इनको कोई सवारे.
Thank you for that great video. You know, I think it really shows the segmentation between what kids come from and what they end up going into when they start a TCF school, and it's really night and day. So, you know, we hope that illustrated for you the power of TCF, but we have a lot more to tell you. So, the next guest of ours needs no introduction, and anything that I say will not do justice to the impact that he's had on not only TCF but on Pakistan more broadly. As the founding director, Mushtaq Chopra founded TCF back in 1995 with the aim of improving the social conditions in Pakistan through education. He's highly respected and decorated as an entrepreneur. He's been involved with numerous organizations, both philanthropic, but also entrepreneurial. You know, Mushtaq Uncle has received numerous awards from the Skoll Foundation, the Schwab Foundation. He's a member of the Clinton Global Initiative for his work with TCF. And most recently, for his service, he received the Sitar Imtiaz, which is the Star of Excellence, and it's actually the highest civil honor in Pakistan from the Pakistani government. So Mushtaq Chopra is a strong believer in education. He's a key part of the TCF strategy as a mentor, as an advisor, and someone who's instrumental to the quality of the platform that we have today. I'd also note that Mushtaq Uncle is a proud asset of the Maiman community, so we're very proud to say that. So without further ado, I'd love to call up Mushtaq Chopra to share a few words with you.
Thank you, Harun. Assalamu alaikum, my friends in the USA, especially in the south of Florida. It's a pleasure and honor to be here speaking to you today. Harun said something, I was joking a little while back with Dr. Iqbal Ismail, that maybe it would be better if I spoke in Maimani. But unfortunately, there are a whole lot of people there who wouldn't sort of completely understand the lingo. But let me start off. Let me set the pace with a share which really sort of consumes or really sort of encompasses what TCF is all about. So it goes like this. This zulmate shab se tu kahin behtar tha. Zulmate shab se tu kahin behtar tha. Apne hisse ki tu shama jalate jate. Which means that it's futile to curse the darkness. You light your own candle, or you light the candles. So this is what TCF is all about. And this is how the TCF story begins in 1995. Arif Ghafoor said that, yes, I am a small party to this whole story, but there are 5 other friends, who thought of this great plan, and it just came about in like an accident, We, like many Pakistanis, we used to sit around in drawing rooms talking about how the country, the solution, the problems of the country can be solved. And we had answers to everything. Pakistanis have an answer to everything. But unfortunately, we talk in our drawing rooms and forget about these solutions in the morning. So we come back again. So at one point in time, we said either we shut up or we do something about it and translate our talk into actions. And that was the birth of that action, which everybody decided that we should go in and change the landscape of education in Pakistan. As we all know, that Pakistan has the largest number of out-of-school children. Almost 1 in 10 children of the world reside in Pakistan. We see that the government schools are not functioning as they should. And when TCF in 1995 took upon itself, we said that we would be building a system which will be focused, and it will be a co-educational system. We want girls and boys both to equally get the education. We want this education system to be nationally represented. It won't be just Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, but in every part of Pakistan, every village, every slum of Pakistan. We said that this would be an organization, would be professionally managed. That means that the board or the founders will not interfere in the running. We'll have specialists running the organization. We said that the curriculum, because we have to follow the curriculums which are in vogue in the states. And we said we'll pick up those curriculums and we would improvise or improve upon that curriculum to give it a flavor of being a holistic curriculum, of a flavor of a critical thinking for our children. And finally, we said that it would be an organization which would be transparent. Since it would be running through the money being given by donors, we would like every dollar, every cent to be accounted for. All our accounts would be audited by one of the big 4 auditing companies, and they would be put on the websites. So this is the background. So the first 5 locations, the first 5 Kachi Abadi slums were identified in Karachi. And within 6 months from the aspiration of August 1995, in May 1996, we opened the doors to our first 5 schools, where we had only 800 children. And this journey has been so gratifying. This journey has been so unique that from the time we opened the 5 schools, and Arif just mentioned that in 2020, we have got more than 1,650 schools in more than 700 locations of Pakistan. So Alhamdulillah, this is nothing short of a miracle. Not many people in this world, see their dreams come true. Allah has blessed us that I am sitting in front of you, that we had a dream, and Allah has made it possible through the efforts of my brothers who are sitting around me today and watching me, that we have come and made a foundation which is changing the lives of more than 300,000 families. When each child which comes from a family changes that family. So I will quickly tell you another very important part of this. See, we went out to open schools to educate those children. But what has happened is that we have now started educating the mothers of these children. We have got a program known as Agahi. It's an adult literacy program. And this adult literacy program brings literacy within 90 days to the elder sisters and mothers who have never been to school. But now after this program, there's a general acceptance. She can read the headlines of a newspaper. She can do simple mathematics. And most of all, she is respected more now in her home. She's got that confidence, that respect, which was not there before. Secondly, what we do is we've got a mentoring program for people coming from all walks of life, from professionals, from people who are working in offices, who come down, and we expose our children to them. And that's a mentoring program, which is called Rehbar. And lastly, in some of our schools, we are providing clean water, and clean water for the children as well as they can take home to their families. So these are some fringe benefits which have come across with our educational system. But this fringe benefit has changed the communities. That is the beauty, that it has become such a program that if you go to a TCF community, the community is a different community. It's an educated community. It's something unique with those communities. So which brings me now to the present times. We all have seen what COVID-19 has done to our lives. This is something unique. This has probably disrupted our lives where we had never even dreamt of a situation where we would be looking at, getting ourselves, enclosed in our homes and sort of doing, everything from our homes. This has taken a very big toll on the children. In the world, you will see that more than 1.5 billion children have been locked at home, or were not going to school. Now, our children, our kids in the TCF scenario are very vulnerable to be away from schools. Their whole life depends on the continuity of education. Citizen Foundation's reputation as a non-profit which is involved in education, but has always been that we have been very conscious about during the earthquake times. We came out, the first charity to come out to build homes, to provide rations. And similarly, during the COVID days, as my friend Arif Ghafoor mentioned, that the community where TCF schools reside, they were so vulnerable. They are on daily wages. They have They had no food. They were on starvation point. So TCF had the honor of immediately creating a massive plan to provide cash subsidies, to provide rations, and they were so timely that others were just thinking about doing something good. And TCF, with its volunteers, with its alumni, with the teachers, were already on ground helping the communities. Then we also passed on some protective PPEs, health to our frontline health workers, protective clothing, shields, masks, goggles, and so on and so forth. And finally, to keep the education continuous, there is a TV channel which is known as Ilm Ka Angan. And more than that, we started distributing. Our teachers went around distributing workbooks where the kids could fill in and bring them back or give them back to the teachers. But now, alhamdulillah, since the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have now reopened our schools with proper procedures, with proper guidance to the kids. I don't know, I should mention this, that I was on a holiday recently, and I happened to go from Islamabad to Azad Kashmir. And we were driving out into the mountains, and there's a small village by the name of Mori Farman Shah. Mori Farman Shah, during the earthquake days, was very badly hit, and a large number of people had their homes destroyed. There, TCF has built a school in Mori Farman Shah. And when I saw that school, my heart, leapt out, and I said, I must stop and go and see what's happening there. Unannounced, I went there, and I promise you, I was totally dumbfounded and amazed at the situation, that when I entered the school, on the entry point, the guard had a temperature controller or temperature measuring instrument in his hand. There were sanitizers on the gate. There was soap and water available to wash hands before entering the school. There were markers for social distancing, that where the kids should be standing during assembly. Inside the classrooms, there were only half the children. They had managed to divide the kids into 2 groups. One half would be coming at a different time, and the other half would be coming at a different time. And they were sitting segregated. Every child, every teacher had a mask on. And it brought tears to my eyes that the TCF system, which is 2,000 miles away from Karachi headquarters, the operating procedures have been working to the T, to the crossing of the T. So my only request to all my friends who are hearing me is that we are bringing this change, and we are giving you an opportunity to take part in this change. Pakistan needs your help, and this organization is creating a wonder. You have seen that there are more than 40,000 children who have graduated from our high schools. And I promise you, everyone is, almost 80% of these kids are going into higher education, into colleges, into universities. And more than that, those children who have graduated from the universities are gainfully employed. So this is a game changer. Citizen Foundation has created a situation where there is hope and opportunity for the children of Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mushtaq, Uncle, for those words. I think clearly, very powerful in terms of the impact, and we're, continue to believe that there's so much more opportunity that we can do to help and transform the lives of these children. One thing that we wanted to bring to you guys, especially given, we've shown the facts and figures, we've shown you a video, it helps illustrate the power of the TCF story. But ultimately, sitting here in the US today with Pakistan thousands of miles away, it's really hard to see the true impact that TCF has, face to face on the children of Pakistan. And we're lucky today because we have someone with us who is a living example of that success. Someone who came from the poorest of backgrounds, whose father was a laborer in a local wire factory, whose mother would who would do stitching for supplementary income. But she used the TCF system and her own merit and her own motivation to break all of the barriers and end up in one of the most coveted positions, not only for us, not only for the children of Pakistan, but for us here in the USA. Sidra Salim is from a small village called Ibrahim Goth, where prior to TCF, there was no school at all. The children would play barefoot on trash heaps. They would roam the streets. There would be no education. It was a village where girls would barely go to school. And she attended school from kindergarten through matriculation in that region. She worked her way up through the system, and she ended up becoming a top student in the system and went to Dow University of Health Sciences, which, by the way, is where my parents went and are successful in the US today because of that education, that platform. So Sidra was able to, through her background, get to that point. It's not only that which is a factor of her success, but she not only graduated at the top at Dow, but ended up coming to the US. She did her electives at the University of Chicago. She spent a year as a research scholar in pediatric neurology at the University of Toledo. And now she's doing her residency at the University of Toledo in neurology. So extremely, extremely proud, having known Sidra for the last several years and having seen her go through this journey. I'm proud to introduce her today as Dr. Sidra Salim. Before we bring her up to speak, we'd like to show you a short clip with just a few pictures of Sidra's journey. And then I'd like to invite her up to speak right after that clip.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you Arun for the brief introduction and sharing that video that has given me so many flashbacks of my journey. The video that we just watched, the Tare, I have seen that children struggling outside of their houses, working on wedges on my daily basis while growing up. My childhood may look struggling with all these pictures, but to be honest with you, it was the most amazing time of my life because I was not even sure that what I am lacking of. My life was going just in the flow. I was fortunate that I started my school in 1998 and TCF has already built a school in 1997. Otherwise, maybe I would not have got the opportunity to go to the school. My schooling in TCF from kindergarten till grade 10, that 11 years of school with my supportive teachers, with lot of learning opportunities, positive environment, and constructive feedback, gave me a very strong foundation. Now I'm just sitting in front of you all and looking back to my life. I can clearly demark a line between each stage of my life. Each stage has a challenge and each stage has a lesson for me that helped me to move forward. If I go back to my school days, during that time, my only challenge was that I have to go to the medical college. I knew that it is tough because I don't only have to compete with my batchmates, but I also have to compete with all other students that are coming from the elite background. At that time, my focus was only the hard work because one of my teachers used to say कि हर मेहनत का हमें सिला मिलता है, कभी वो उसी शक्ल में मिलता है जिसके लिए हम उसकी कोशिश करते हैं और कभी वो हमें किसी मुख्तलिफ लेकिन बेहतर सूरत में मिलता है क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला किसी की भी मेहनत ज़ाया नहीं करते. I had a strong belief on that and I think that was the thought कि मैं दिन रात उसी पे मेहनत करती रही and I was able to get into the prestigious Dow Medical College. Stepping into Dow Medical College was my dream. Not only but also my parents as well. But I was not aware that the world I'm entering is different from my Kachi Abadi. Because I have the students from the different backgrounds. And I have no shame to discuss about the things that I was a little bit complex when I started my medical college. All of my friends, they were talking about the brands, जिसका मैंने कभी नाम भी नहीं सुना होगा. They were talking about the restaurants जहाँ पे जाके वो लोग खाते थे and we were not, we or many of the people in my surrounding could not even afford the meal 3 times a day. या वो टीवी शोज की, ट्रिप्स की, इस तरह की बातें करते थे तो मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि I am the misfit. I was struggling with that and I had a chance to go and meet with one of my teachers and she counseled me to say that कभी भी आपको अपना मुकाबला जो है वो किसी के फाइनेंसेस पे नहीं करना होता बल्कि आपको जो अपना मुकाबला करना होता है वो अपनी इंटेलेक्ट, इंटेलिजेंट और क्वालिटीज पे करना होता है क्योंकि वो भी उसी मेडिकल कॉलेज में उन्हीं सीट पे बैठे हुए हैं जिससे तुम बैठी हुई हो. These words always echoed in my mind. And with that, I was just working hard. I used to sit in library. I have the different group of nerds that don't used to go anywhere and was just studying in the corner of the library. I think that helped me to stand among the top 10 students of my batch who were selected to come to the University of Illinois at Chicago. At that time, I was not planning to come to the US. But when I saw my name, I discussed with my family. My parents were very reluctant क्योंकि उन्होंने तो आज तक यही सुना था कि यूएस में जाके तो लड़कियां बिगड़ जाती हैं, वहाँ तो सब शराब पीते हैं, वहाँ तो ये होता है, वहाँ तो वो होता है. But my brother was very encouraging and I also discussed it with one of my very great mentor, Riaz Kamlani Sahab at that time. And he was very supportive as well. And he introduced me to one of the dear leader of TCF Chicago chapter as well, Daniel Noorani Sahab. And when I landed in Chicago for the very first time, he picked me up and he helped me to settling in. But the struggle at that time was a little bit different क्योंकि growing up in Karachi, जहाँ पे सर्दियाँ भी शिकागो की समर जैसी होती थी, it was very hard, especially in the morning 5 or 6 a.m. when I have to run to the train. और मैं बस यही सोचती रहती थी कि भाग के जाऊं तो मेटाबॉलिज्म बढ़ेगा और सर्दी कम लगेगी, या वॉक करके जाऊं पर हवा बहुत ज्यादा लगेगी. Other than that, the system was very new. The healthcare system was totally different from Pakistan. I had a struggle in understanding what people are saying, although I knew that the basic knowledge is the same, but the approach is totally different. And I knew the answers of many things, but by the time my mind was able to process, the moment was past. That were the quite difficult weeks for my life, but that has taught me that how to be more expressive and how to get adjusted in the different environment and settling in. Then I went back to Pakistan to do my house job. Even at that time, I was not sure that should I come back for my residency to the US or should I stay in Pakistan? Because the route in Pakistan was quite straightforward. I have to give one exam and I can start my residency. But come to the US, I have to give so many exams. I will have a lot of struggles. I have to stay away from my family. And I was not even sure that at the end, would I be able to match or not? But one day I was just sitting and thinking. And then I thought that my training is not to run after the easy things, but my training is to excel in excellence. I think that was the thought that gave me the belief to work on my US families and come to the US for my residency. I always wanted to do neurology, but I was aware that programs in the US for neurology are not very, and the sports are also very less. But I thought that I will work with some of the great mentors here in the US, and then I will apply for my residency. And I got an opportunity to work with the same institute, University of Toledo, with the great epileptologist. It gave me an opportunity to work in the research and present a lot of my work in the American academies like American Academy of Neurology, American Epilepsy Society, and American Neurologic Association. I was just working hard and was doing my interviews, but there came a day in the March 2020 when I heard the news that I got matched in University of Toledo for my neurology residency. When I heard the news, I was so happy. I shared it with all of my family and my great TCF supporters as well, because without that, I wouldn't have it wouldn't be possible for me to come back so far. At that time, I was planning that I will go back to Pakistan, will visit my family, will visit some of the TCF schools to talk with the children and encourage them. But there came a COVID, and I was not able to get my documents signed for the travel, and I couldn't go back. But I utilized that time to settle up my apartment, to get my car, to learn the driving, and be confident to start my residency. Now working as an intern as a first year of my residency, training in the US healthcare system is very satisfactory. I'm as confident as my other colleagues are. I am always confident to put my thought process and learn their thought process as well, and respect their cultural beliefs, meanwhile sharing mine as well. But for me, the most contented part is when I get my paycheck every 2 weeks, and I know that some of my amount is definitely going for TCF to at least educate few of the children. And not only me, but many of my students who have already signed up for the TCF auto pay. Because sometimes we talked about the cup of coffee in the Starbucks is the same amount as the education of one child for a month in the TCF school is. So the journey that was started in the Ibrahim Road, Kachi Abadi in an urban slums. And now introducing myself as a resident in University of Toledo, Ohio, wouldn't have been possible without Allah's mercies, my parents' struggle, and my TCF family. You're hearing only from me, but there are so many other students who are doing very well in their academics. But I'm not looking to them. I'm looking to those unfortunate who are not even aware that what they are lacking of, but are really waiting for the generosity to help them with the education to go to the school. So I request all of you to please join us in this Sadqa Jariya to spread the education throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sidra, for sharing your story. I'd like to maybe pause and see if anyone has any questions for Sidra. Maybe we'll take 2 questions and then move on with the program. So if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand. Okay. Well, if there's no questions, we'll certainly have time a little bit later for additional questions. Mushtaq, Uncle, I'm going to pass it back to you. I think आप mute पे हैं शायद, Mushtaq Uncle.
Okay. After listening to Sidra, of course, now Dr. Sidra Salim, I got tears in my eyes, and I do that all the time because I feel that in the plans of the Almighty Allah, every child should have had the opportunity what Sidra has, or the. I just want to fill in here that Sidra's family, from Sidra's family, 5 siblings have gone to TCF school, and all of them have excelled. They are, mashallah, Nadeem being, as you all know, with the World Bank, and Sidra's older sister, Uzma, is a grade 17 officer in the government. And Ikra, her sister, graduated from LUMS. So my question to every one of you is, does Sidra look at you like any different from our daughter or our sons? Harun and Sidra are on the same plane as I can see. And I think that by Sidra gave a very innocent but very profound statement that what you spend in Starbucks would be a whole month's education for a child in Pakistan. My appeal to my brothers and sisters who are listening to me is very simple and plain. Do not take away anything from your regular pattern. Just a little bit help these children get an opportunity. And you've seen that these children they're very conscious. You know, they take your Sadqa-e-Jariya as not a charity. This is something which every one of us in our lives has received a helping hand from somewhere. And I remember, you know, you just need a little bit of a nudge or a push. So this is that nudge I request you all to come up and give the kids of Pakistan. Thank you.
So with that, I'd like to call up one of our community members who's been a longstanding supporter of TCF, Ashraf Hamdani, who's my uncle. Ashraf Uncle, if you could also contribute a few words of appeal here before we do a little bit of fundraising.
Assalamu alaikum. Harun, it's amazing to see you taking this initiative. It was our dream in South Florida that our kids will come forward and take this organization to the next level. So my congratulations to you and your parents, you know. Moving along, I wanted to really congratulate entire TCF team, especially Brother Mushtaq Chapra, with whom I have a long association and I've worked a long time with him. Ahsan Salim, Atid Riyad, Rashid Abdullah. These are amazing human beings. They have created something which is really amazing. I've been a very big fan of TCF over the years. My association with TCF been probably a decade back, thanks to my father-in-law who introduced me to Mushtaq Bhai and said, look, if you want to make your akhirah, meet this man. He do something so amazing that you will be remember that meeting. So I'm really thankful to my father-in-law who passed away. Look, I've been working with TCF with our family schools, two of them, for last 10 years. And I've been to some of this slum area in Karachi where the schools are situated. This is something really I cannot put in words, but some of you, when you visit there, you can go and see what they do. These are very low slum areas, and probably you go and look at a building which will look the best out of the whole area, and you will see that will be a TCF building. So all these kids in the morning look forward to get to that school so they can have, a little bit of, it's like they look forward every day to go to that building. Rather than at that time, they are not really aware that they're going to get education there because they come from so poor families. South Florida have been generous. I've been working with all my friends here tonight who are here. We have done so many fundraisings in South Florida and worked in so many projects, and they are very, very generous. So I will humbly request everyone who is with us today to reach their family, friends, to help TCF in any way we could and save Pakistan, and we can really help Pakistan to come up or uplift the lives of these needy, underprivileged kids. Only way we can educate them and make a better Pakistan for tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashraf.
Harun, I
Jay.
just want to, hello. I just want to add here that Ashraf and his wife Fatima have been very generous to TCF, and they have very kindly, been there to support us in every time I have talked to Ashraf. He has never lagged behind, and he has been attending all our fundraisers in Dubai, and I really wish the family, especially him and his wife, well. Thank you, Ashraf.
Thank you, Mushtaq Uncle. Very quickly, I do want to open it up before we move on to our next segment, which is a very important one with our special guest, Marina Khan. But given some of the comments, we did want to open it up and ask for a fundraising here. Look, I think it's, as you've heard from everyone here, we're in the COVID environment. We're all dealing with difficulties. Our kids aren't in school, doing this virtually. Think about how hard it is in Pakistan for some of these parents and the kids who are out of school and who rely upon TCF. Our goal in South Florida here is to raise $100,000 today. We have 3 schools that we are supporting who rely upon us for their operations. There's numerous kids. There's over 500 kids that are dependent upon us. These are our 3 schools. The Sunshine Campus has actually been built by the South Florida community, and then these other 2 we've been supporting for years. So over 500 students depend on us, and it's incumbent upon us to open our wallets and really help support. So on the next slide, I'd like to just start by asking, and I'll allow folks to unmute if they're interested in making a contribution. But maybe we start with these few options. Karen, if we could move to the next slide. So I'm going to start from the right, and again, we're not going to make this long, but would really love for commitments from our community members here. I'd like to start with $10,000 as an amount to support half a school for 1 year. Do I have anyone who's willing to commit $10,000?
Harun, I will do it, inshallah.
Thank you, Ashraf Uncle. Do we have any other supporters for $10,000?
Harun, inshallah, I will do $10,000 from our family, me and my brother, inshallah.
Thank you. Anyone else? $10,000? Thank you. That's 20K out of the 100. So we've made good progress. Next, $5,000. Is there anyone that is interested in committing $5,000? That's $14 a day for a year. That's all it takes to educate. That's 2 cups of coffee from Starbucks. Is anyone interested in $5,000?
Arun, can you hear me?
Ji Adam Uncle.
Assalamu alaikum, beta. Very glad to hear all this, and congrats to putting up such a event. From our family, we'll contribute $5,000.
Thank you, Adam Uncle. Anyone else? $5,000? $5,000. Okay. Sponsoring a class.
I have a commitment of $5,000 from Asad Shamim. I already got a check.
Thank you. $3,200. That's sponsoring a classroom for a year. That's a classroom of kids. Anyone willing to contribute $3,200? That's $9 a day, less than $10 a day. Anyone? I'd remind you that all donations are tax eligible, or tax deductible, zakat eligible. Is anyone willing to contribute $3,200?
Hey, Baijan, I'll do 3,200.
Thanks, Hassan.
That's Harun's brother.
All right. Last 2 categories. Educating a child from KG through grade 10. That's a cup of coffee a day, $3.50. That's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks for all of you Starbucks loyalists.
Arun, can you hear me?
Inshallah,
I'll do one of those packages. I'll talk to you tonight or tomorrow. But what I want to offer right now is I would like to offer a couple of internships for students in Pakistan to work in one of the offices there. I'm not sure if it's from IT aspects or creative design or call centers or whatever. So me and you can talk about that. Also, we have a program we're launching in November 15th, I believe, that we're going to have every campus, college and university will have campus ambassadors. If any of the kids qualify, I would love to have them on board, and we'll offer the support.
Great. Thank you, Amin Uncle, for the generosity.
And also, obviously, we'll do one of the donation package too, inshallah.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? $1,300, a cup of coffee a day. Okay.
Harun?
Well, yes.
Yeah, yes, Harun, beta, I will do it. 1,300. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm
so
giving
much
actually 1,500. I'm putting 1,500. Okay. Okay.
Great.
Beta. Okay. Beta.
Can you hear me?
Harun, this is Sohail Khan. I will do 10 children for a year at 1,200. Sohail Khan.
Great. Thank you so much.
Arun, can you hear me?
Ji.
I'll do 1,300.
Thank you.
Harun, this is
Ji.
Harun. Could you add 1,500 for me? Najma and myself.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Harun. This is
Yep.
Apuji. I'll do 1,300, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Harun, this is Zafar. I will do 1,300.
Thank you, Zafar uncle.
Harun Shabtab,
Jason,
1300.
thank you so much.
Harun, can you hear me?
Yes, Ansar uncle.
Yes, I'd like to contribute $1,300 as well.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Any last contributions? You're obviously welcome. If you want to just flip to the next slide, Kiran. There are a number of options to donate. You can text South Florida to 41444. You can pledge online on the link that you went to register, or you can text my dad for any commitments that you want to make. We can collect the checks and send them to TCF. Of course, we will keep all of your commitments confidential to the extent you would like to have us keep them confidential. So with that, I'd like to
Harun,
Harun,
this is Amin Naviwala. On behalf of me and Farhat, $1,200.
Thank you, Amin uncle.
Harun, this is Shahid Bari. Commit $1,000, okay?
Thank you, Shahid uncle. Well, great. Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce G.
Harun,
You can hear me?
continue.
Better 1300 from Fuad and Hina.
Thank you. Great. Well, with that, we will obviously have the links active.
Yeah, Harun, my mother would like to donate $500 for Parveen Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you, Parveen Auntie.
You're welcome.
Great. Well, I'd love to introduce our last but certainly not least special guest, who we're very, very excited to hear from. She's an entertainer, she's a TV producer, she's an actress. She is known from where she started in the classic Pakistani drama series Tanhaiya. She rose to fame in 1986. She's continued to conquer hearts with her smile. She's very, very well renowned in the Pakistani entertainment industry, having played many, many roles in the 80s and thereafter. Along with being an evergreen celebrity of Pakistan and an award-winning actress and director, she's also a very strong activist. She's supported diverse philanthropic causes, including education, women empowerment, animal rights. She's a big supporter of TCF. We're thrilled to have her. And so we're going to have a short moderated session with Ms. Marina Khan. So I'd love to have us pull back into that discussion. If Marina could unmute, I'd love to start the conversation here.
I think I did unmute.
Great, thank you. So Marina, it's a pleasure to have you here. We love your dramas, especially the classics, including Dup Ganare, Tanhaiya. I've listened to my parents talk about you at different times and how the journeys differed. How your journey may have differed given your background and your role within the entertainment industry. So maybe to start from the very beginning, if you could tell us about the kind of school you went to, the kind of education you have, what kind of student were you?
Unfortunately, not a good one, but schooling was something I really enjoyed. My father was in the Air Force, so I went to all the Air Force schools, the different bases we were in. So I loved the whole process of going to school, the getting up, the getting ready, meeting up with friends, even being in class. But I think it was the exams that used to, that's where I would fail. I mean, literally fail. But I was always, I think I used to contribute a lot in the question answer sessions and stuff like that. But I think my mind was more on the artsy side rather than the mathematical side. So maths was not a good subject. But I think schooling for me was always, I think, I don't know why. I mean, I think even now, if I had a choice, I'd go back to school. There was just something about school. I think it lays down foundations for you. And I think just now listening to, sorry, I'm going totally off topic here, but just now listening to Sidra and what Mushtaq Saab said, I was in tears, especially after I saw that clip, and then listening to her, and I just, sitting and I said, oh my God, I'm so proud to be a Pakistani, to know, I'm getting teary again, to know that, we have TCF and what it's produced. And this girl is just, I mean, it was mind-blowing. I mean, her story. I mean, I think my story would be totally boring in front of hers. I mean, the determination, the jazba that she showed, the dream that she had. But yeah, coming back to it. So I basically went to Air Force schools. That was my schooling. I'm so sorry. I go totally off.
No, I think it's important. And, you've seen Pakistan over, a number of decades now, where, from the time you were in school to now, things have changed for the better in some ways and changed for the worse in others. And I guess, how do you feel about the state of the education system? What do you think TCF's role is within all that? And really, why is it that you support this organization the way you have?
White women with college degrees, look at this movement and we compare it to what Hillary Clinton got in these states in 2016.
Marina, I think you may be on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, before I did this morning show, I was a very negative person about Pakistan, and maybe a couple of things that happened, and so. But when I started doing the morning show, the kind of people I met and the kind of people I interviewed, and it was such an eye opener. And I think TCF, and I said that these are all the little jewels in the crown of Pakistan. And TCF is definitely right up there. And these are the jewels that's, in my opinion, keeping the country together. Because I remember we had a bunch of these little kids who came to the show, and they were going to one of these Kachiyabadi schools. But oh my God, the way they spoke, the confidence they showed, it was heartwarming, because you learn afterwards that one kid came, lived in a one-bedroom place with his entire family. One child was a rickshaw driver's kid, and you just felt so proud. And that's the Pakistan you really want to see, is as Mushtaq Saab said, equal opportunity for everyone. And unfortunately, right now, I mean, if we didn't have TCF and other jewels like we do, I don't know what. I really don't know what are the elite. They can go to good schools. The people who have money, they can send their kids abroad and all. But what do these kids have? They have nothing. But they have guys like you, and it's a blessing. And I think that basically you should take over the education system of Pakistan. That's what I think.
And I guess maybe extending education more broadly. I mean, you see different industries, right? I mean, you're obviously very familiar with the entertainment industry. There's other industries where one could argue that we've been held back because of our lack of quality education. I guess as you think about the next 5, 10, 15 years, and the generation that's coming up, I mean, how do you see different parts of Pakistan being shaped, and in particular the entertainment industry that you're very close to?
Well, in the entertainment industry, I feel that you can definitely see the lack of education seeping through, and especially from our scripts, because that's the heart and soul of a television program, is your script, how strong your scripts. And I do not want to be disrespectful to the script writers that we have, but none of our script writers, I think at the moment, have had formal training in script writing. So we never developed any formal training in acting, in script writing, in camera work, in directing. So everything that we've either learned from television or, someone helped somebody to write a script. क्या कहते हैं, play famous हो गया, suddenly you become this, script writer, or even actors, suddenly you become this huge personality. But the responsibility, I think what we lack by not being educated in our fields is the responsibility each field has. And I think you can see that. I mean, either we go on to a trend of suddenly writing about Saas Bahu because वो इंडिया से हम लोग इन्फ्लुएंस हुए थे, या टर्किश ड्रामा एक बहुत पॉपुलर हुआ, उससे हम इन्फ्लुएंस हुए, उनकी कहानियां हमने लिखनी शुरू कर दी. And I think Sultana Siddiqui, God bless her, she was a PTV producer. She somehow brought a change, and we came back from mimicking. And this was after PTV had sort of collapsed and private sector had come up, and our dramas had really gone down the drain. But I think because she started talking about our own stories and stuff. The other thing which we lack is we don't study what we have done in the past. I mean, if you look at India, you look at America, they've progressed and they've slowly we've lost it in the middle, and then we've sort of picked it up now. Which is okay. I mean, we're doing good. We're doing decent productions, but storyline is not all that great. And I think that's where I feel even in production, when day to day the issues and the problems we have is because people don't really they're just doing a job. They're not in it for the passion of the field that they're in. The passion that Sidra is showing, because that is something she wanted to do. So these guys are just doing a job. And some of the pay scales are good, some of them are not. And so I think that is the lack of education brings this apathy, I think the word is, into the whole system. And I think what we had and what our training was, and the people before us, it's totally lacking now. It's the sets are not. They're not. They don't work the way we were brought up to which sort of we were in houses, they're not very well air conditioned, गर्मी में हम काम कर रहे हैं, पसीना आ रहा है, थोड़े से पैसे बचाने के लिए एक AC on करेंगे, दूसरा AC, and it's not about the AC, it's about the performer, so these are all little things that if you really respected your field and you really were into it and you had the whole picture in front of you, I think we would be far ahead of where we are right now.
No, it's very well said, and I think it just makes it all the more important to continue to support organizations like this, because these things don't happen overnight, and it's over time, and the power to transform even something like the entertainment industry is so great. Maybe tell us your favorite show, favorite entertainment skit. Just give us a little flavor for what's for as sort of a closing thought, your career and one of the highlights.
Oh, I think I've had little moments in everything I've done. It's a learning experience. Like I said, it's each thing for me is it's a learning, because we don't come from we don't prepare for our roles as such. So I think Tanhaiya obviously was probably my all-time favorite because of the fact that it was a first. It was I was exposed to this brand new world. And I'm looking forward to the play I've just finished. It's called Olad. I don't know when it's going to be aired, but there's some interesting moments in that which I've really enjoyed. And of course, I think all the PTV work that I did, I have very fond memories of that. Like I said, it was a different time. But I guess you have to mold yourself. You can't just say, "Okay, oh, acha ye nahi ho raha, to main bhi aisa nahi karungi." You just mold yourself and you try and adjust. It breaks your heart a little bit, but you do. So
great. Well, thank you, Marina, for these words of wisdom and for sharing your story. We're thrilled to have had a chance to meet you, although virtually. Maybe one day in the future we'll get to meet you in person. But thanks so much for your thoughts and for all the work you do for TCF. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you, and please keep the pledges going, and we must get together and make this definitely. Like I said, take over the education system in Pakistan. I think that's what you guys need to do. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Marina.
Take care.
With that, let's if we can get an update on the pledges.
Harun,
there's a bit of an echo.
Oh, fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I got a couple of pledges from Anwar Subhani. They are pledging 3,200. Anwar Subhani and his family. So you can count that. And brother Shahid Khan and Sophia Khan, they pledged $2,000 also. So please count that. And I think there are a couple of other people I getting messages they want to say they want to announce some of the amount. So give them a few minutes if somebody else wants to announce or pledge.
Does anyone else have a pledge they'd like to announce? Rabia, it may be worth, I think it sounds like we were at about 5,600. So with the 5,000 just noted, that gets us to $61,000 raised. So terrific progress from everyone, but we need to continue the momentum. And I know many of you are donors for a long time, and we'd love for your support. Help us get to that $100,000, inshallah. So are there any other pledges that want to be announced to help grow that $60,000 that we have right now? Well, look, if not, or if you'd like to keep your donation confidential, or if you'd like to let us know individually, we'd be happy to take your commitments. We do have a very extensive corporate matching program. So for those of you that work for corporations, please, we will follow up with you. So just please indicate your employer when you make your donation. And then finally, I'd again note that all donations are tax deductible, zakat eligible. Looks like we just got another $1,300 commitment on the chat. So thank you very much. I'm going to ask again, if there's anyone else that would like to make a commitment, please either put it in the chat or announce it here, or follow the instructions to text that we shared earlier. Otherwise, we have our final segment, which is an entertainment program. We've got an entertainer who is well-renowned. He's got some great songs to share with you. It is nighttime in Pakistan, so he's been nice enough to stay on along with Mushtaq Uncle and the rest of the team, Marina. But I'd like to maybe call up Ali Parvez Mehdi to sing a few songs as we wrap up the program here. But thank you very much, all of you, for tuning in. We're thrilled to have had the opportunity to connect all of you in South Florida and bring us all together in support of the cause. So With that, let me turn it over to Ali Parvez Mehdi to wrap up the program here.
Harun,
Yes.
Rahil said he wants to donate 1,300.
Thank you, Jabinanti. I will note that down.
Hello, everyone. This is Ali Parvez Mehdi. I'm really honored to be here tonight. And I'm the singer tonight. And been supporting TCF for a while now. And really honored and really glad to be a part of this cause. And we have selected few songs, new and old songs. And let me sing those for you. Let's have fun.
कच्ची डोरियों 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 में मैनू तू बांध ले पक्की यारियों 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 में होंदे ना फासले ये नाराजगी कागजी सारी तेरी मेरे सोनिया सुन ले मेरी दिल दियां गल्लां करांगे नाल नाल बैठ के अख नाल अख नू मिला के दिल दियां गल्लां करांगे रोज रोज बैठ के सच्चियां मुहब्बतां निभा के सताए मैनू क्यों रुलाए मैनू क्यों एवें झूठी मूठी रुस के रुसा के दिल दियां गल्लां करांगे नाल नाल बैठ के सच्चियां मुहब्बतां निभा के लखां तो छुपा के रखा अखां ते सजा के तू मेरी वफा रख अपना बना के मैं तेरे लइयां यारा ना पावी कदी दूरियां तेनू लखां तो छुपा के रखा अखां ते सजा के तू मेरी वफा रख अपना बना के मैं तेरे लइयां यारा ना पावी कदी दूरियां मैं जीना हाँ तेरा हो मैं जीना तेरा तू जीना है मेरा दस लेना की नखर दिखा के दिल दियां गल्लां करांगे नाल नाल बैठ के अख नाल अख नू मिला के दिल दियां गल्लां कच्ची डोरियों 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 में मैनू तू बांध ले पक्की यारियों 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 में होंदे ना फासले ये नाराजगी कागजी सारी तेरी मेरे सोनिया सुन ले मेरी दिल दियां गल्लां 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 प्यार को तुम मिटा ना सकोगे, मुझे तुम नजर से। मेरी याद होगी जिधर जाओगे तुम, कभी नगमा बन के, कभी बन के आंसू। मेरी याद होगी जिधर जाओगे तुम, कभी नगमा बन के, कभी बन के आंसू। तड़पता मुझे हर तरफ पाओगे तुम, शमा जो जलाई है मेरी वफा ने, बुझाना भी चाहो बुझा ना सकोगे, मुझे तुम नजर से। कभी नाम बातों में आया जो मेरा, तो बेचैन हो के दिल थाम लोगे। कभी नाम बातों में आया जो मेरा, तो बेचैन हो के दिल थाम लोगे। निगाहों पे छाएगा गम का अंधेरा, किसी ने जो पूछा सबब आंसुओं का, बताना भी चाहो बता ना सकोगे, मुझे तुम नजर से। गिरा तो रहे हो मुझे तुम कभी भी भुला ना सकोगे, ना जाने मुझे क्यों यकीन हो चला है, मेरे प्यार को तुम मिटा ना सकोगे। हमें तुमसे प्यार कितना ये हम नहीं जानते, मगर जी नहीं सकते तुम्हारे बिना। हमें तुमसे प्यार कितना ये हम नहीं जानते, मगर जी नहीं सकते तुम्हारे बिना। हमें तुमसे प्यार सुना गम जुदाई का उठाते हैं लोग, जाने जिंदगी कैसे बिताते हैं लोग। दिन भी यहाँ तो लगे बरस के समान, हमें इंतजार कितना ये मगर जी नहीं सकते तुम्हारे बिना हमें तुमसे प्यार तुम्हें कोई और देखे तो जलता है दिल बड़ी मुश्किलों से फिर संभलता है दिल क्या क्या जतन करते हैं तुम्हें क्या बताऊं ये दिल बेकरार कितना ये हम नहीं जानते मगर जी नहीं सकते तुम्हारे बिना तुम्हारे बिना तुम्हारे बिना मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजो लगदा जी मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजो लगदा जी तू की जाने प्यार मेरा मैं करा इंतजार तेरा तू दिल तू यो जान मेरी मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजो लगदा जी मेरे दिल विच रह के मेरे दिल दा हाल न जाने तेरे बाजो कलियां बह के रोंदे नैन न माणे ओ मेरे दिल विच रह के मेरे दिल दा हाल न जाने तेरे बाजो कलियां बह के रोंदे नैन न माणे जीना मेरा है मरना मेरा नाल तेरे सी कर एतबार मेरा मैं करा इंतजार तेरा तू दिल तू यो जान मेरी मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजो लगदा जी सुंजियां दिल दियां गलियां सुंजियां मेरियां बावां आजा तेरियां खुशबुआं नू लभदियां मेरियां सावां सुंजियां सुंजियां दिल दियां गलियां सुंजियां मेरियां बावां आजा तेरियां खुशबुआं नू लभदियां मेरियां सां तेरे बिना बेकरार दूर उदासी दिल बेकरार मेरा मैं करा इंतजार तेरा तू दिल तू यूं जान मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजों लगदा जी मैं तेनू समझावां कि ना तेरे बाजों लगदा जी तू की जाने प्यार मेरा मैं कर इंतजार तेरा तू दिल तू यूं जान मेरी मेरे मन ये बता दे तू किस ओर चला है तू क्या पाया नहीं तूने क्या ढूंढ रहा है तू जो है अनकही जो है अनसुनी वो बात क्या है बता मितवा कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या मितवा तू खुद से तो ना ये छुपा जीवन डगर में प्रेम नगर में आया नजर में जब से कोई है तू सोचता है तू पूछता है जिसकी कमी थी क्या ये वही है हाँ ये वही है हाँ ये वही है तू एक प्यासा ये नदी है काहे नहीं इसको तू खुल के बताए जो है अनकही जो है अनसुनी वो बात क्या है बता मितवा कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या मितवा से तो ना तू छुपा तेरी निगाहें पा गई राहें पर तू ये सोचे जाऊं ना जाऊं ये जिंदगी जो है नाचती तो क्यों बेड़ियों में है तेरे पाँव प्रीत की धुन पर नाच ले पागल उड़ता गर है उड़ने दे आज काहे कोई अपने को से तरसाए जो है अनकही, जो है अनसुनी, वो बात क्या है बता। मितवा कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या, मितवा कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या, मितवा कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या, कहे धड़कने तुझसे क्या, कहे धड़कने तुझसे।
Assalamu alaikum. I have few more pledges. I got a pledge from Wahid Ganiwala, $1,000. I got another pledge from Zakaria Billo, $500. Another one from Salim Surya, $500. And from Khurram Alam, $1,000. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I think our tally so far it almost $68,000. Hopefully, we'll reach our target soon, inshallah. Please either call me, text me. You can call Harun. You can donate directly to the TCF website, and whichever the way is easy for you. Thank you once again. Thank you so much, everyone to attend the program.
Thank you, everyone.